Guys, it's Richard here, the Metal Fan, with a new 2013 album review. As you can see by the title of this video, I'm going to be reviewing the new album from thrash metal band Death Angel, their new album called The Dream Calls for Blood. Now, this is the 7th studio album from this Bay Area thrash metal band. Now, Death Angel are from, I believe, the California, San Francisco, sort of the Bay Area of thrash metal. In my opinion, they're one of the most underrated thrash metal bands of all time. Next to like Exodus and Testament and Overkill. And probably even some other bands like Sodom and Creator. Now, I've heard this album, I've heard a lot of people talk about this album, and just one thing about this say about this album is just holy shit, just wow. Now, honestly, this is one of the best thrash albums of the year. Probably next to Epitome of Torture by Sodom and Skull by Evil. I was just pretty much surprised about this album. Now, this album actually came out today. I'm most likely going to buy this album. It's definitely one of the best albums of 2013 and one of the best thrash albums of 2013. I mean, I know this year, especially in 2013 for thrash metal, sort of a mixed year. Because we had Super Collider, which is meh, but I'm not going to talk about that. And we have sort of Epitome of Torture by Sodom, which is pretty awesome. Same thing with same thing we'll have to say about Evil by Skull is awesome. Just wow. In fact, Death Angel are so underrated. They've been around since the 1980s, but then they broke up in the 1990s. But then they reformed in, I believe, 2001. This is only their 7th album. Their first album in nearly 3 years since their last album in 2010, which I forgot what it's called now. But anyway, this band should be noticed more in the thrash metal scene and metal scene, don't you think? But yeah, let's talk about this album, The Dream Calls for Blood. Now, the album opens up with a song called Left for Dead, which actually starts off very weird. It sort of sounds very creepy sounding, but then it's just really just, as soon as there's a really heavy stuff, it just pounds your face in. It's just, wow. It's a very good way to open up this album. It's a very good album opener. Next song is called Sons of Morning, which is a pretty good song. There's a pretty catchy song, in my opinion. Just some really great guitar riffs. It's just something that just sticks with you. Yeah. Next song is called Fallen, which actually shows what the band is pretty much about, in my opinion. And has a pretty good acoustic part, which actually I think is from what I've heard, the first time Death Angel has any acoustic guitar parts, which is pretty good, makes it sort of unique. And it also has a very good drum intro, which is pretty awesome. Now we get to the title track of the album called The Dream Calls for Blood, which is another cool song. It feels very anthemic, sort of like if they were to play the song live, it would just sort of get the crowd just pumping. And it's pretty good. It also feels very groove oriented in that song, and it has some really good guitar solos. It's a pretty good song. Next song is called Succubus, which is one of the best songs on this album. Has some really great guitar parts in that song and some pretty good lyrics in there. Next song is called Execution, Don't Save Me, which is another good song. Has some pretty acoustic guitar parts in there. That song, it's pretty good. Next song is called Caster of Shame, which is another good song, just pretty awesome. Next song is called Detonate, which is another one of my favorite songs. Probably has a pretty good guitar solo, which is pretty awesome. Next song is called Empty, which is one of my favorite songs on this album. One of the most interesting songs. It feels like it brings sort of more of a melodic side to Death Angel, which is pretty interesting. The next song is called Territorial Instinct / But Bloodless, which feels like they could have been 2 songs mashed in one, or one song, whatever. It's a pretty good song. It has sort of pretty good drumming from there. It feels very tribal sounding. But that's a good way to end this album. Just a very good way to close it. Now, if you get the special edition, it actually comes with one bonus track, which is a cover of Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell. When I heard this cover, I was pretty impressed, I have to say. It's a pretty good cover from them. Now, overall, Death Angel. Now, this album, I wish I would have known more about this band. I feel like they're one of the most underrated bands, period. I feel like they should be up there with the other thrash bands, like with Metallica, Megadeth, and Slayer. But overall, this album is pretty much one of the best albums of 2013. I'm definitely putting this on my list. I don't know what position, but it's pretty awesome. So overall, I'm going to give The Dream That Calls for Blood by Death Angel a 9.5 out of 10. So yeah, later guys, and keep it metal.